Welcome to More Patients, More Impact, More Income, the podcast for real holistic medical practitioners who want to grow their high-impact, high-income practice without selling out. And now, here's your host, Chris Axelrad.
Welcome back to More Patients, More Impact, More Income. You're listening to part 2 of the series. Let's jump back in.
No, do not use these terms in your marketing. Not that you should never put these words in your marketing, but they're not going to get you patients, okay? You can talk about these things, but only after you've called out the problem that you want to help people solve. Digestive health, women's health, skin problems, pain, regulate the cycle, eye problems. No, none of that. See, that this is all vague, non-specific, and just people really won't pay attention to it, at least not the people that you want in your practice. Okay. Yes. Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis. This is a term that's going to get someone's attention, right? Not only that, even if they're not the one diagnosed with it, maybe it's their aunt, maybe it's their sister, maybe it's their brother, their cousin, their coworker. And they know, and they'll be able to then talk about it with them and say, hey, I saw this thing on Facebook, or I saw this video by this person, and they were talking about Crohn's disease. Maybe you should check it out. Let me send you the link, okay? Not women's health, instead, endometriosis, hot flashes. Okay, these are things that people pay attention to. Skin problems, no. Psoriasis, eczema, yes. Pain, no. Plantar fasciitis, knee osteoarthritis. There's other types of pain conditions that lend themselves well to attracting patients. I always say to people, people will try to do marketing around frozen shoulder, neck pain. Not to say that you can't get those kind of patients, but I always say that someone who can't walk is having a lot more problems than someone who, can't quite put their shirt on in the morning because their shoulder won't move 100%, or has some neck pain and has to turn around, turn their shoulders to look behind them. I mean, the latter problems are problems, and, people will ask for help with those. But if you can't walk, or if you're having difficulty walking, that's going to be a lot more urgent, right? Infertility. Again, I talked about this a minute ago, talking about regulating a cycle. People don't want regular cycles. I'll tell you this right now. If I asked every single one of my infertility patients, or if I told every one of my infertility patients, you know what? When you come here, okay, your cycle is going to actually be less regular. It's going to go way, way out of sync with what you're used to. But there's an 80% chance that you'll be pregnant in 3 months. I guarantee you they'll all go, that's fine. Fuck, I don't care if my cycle's regular. Shit, I'll take that 80% chance. Okay? And not eye problems. Talk about macular degeneration. Talk about Sjogren's, which is, something that can cause really severe dry eye. Okay? So that's clear, right? That's clear. See the difference? The power in those terms. The power when you say endometriosis instead of menstrual cramps. When you say eczema instead of rash or allergies, okay? So something your prospect is desperately looking for, we're going to talk about this now, something they're desperately looking for that is even more important to them than results. Like I said, results are important, but this is more important. So I just want to be clear. I'm not saying people don't care about results. They do. But they care about this a lot more. And how to embed it in your marketing so they are massively attracted to you. All right. So I got news for you. And this probably, I just want you to don't have your feelings hurt, okay? Because we're all in this boat. Our treatment is pretty much worthless. The treatment is worthless. I'm going to explain this in a minute. The information that you know, all the knowledge that you have is worthless. Sadly, a lot of people figure this out because they spend $200,000 getting an education, they get their degree, and then they think, okay, well, now I have this title and this degree, and people will see the value of that. And no, they don't, because there is no value in it. There is no value in it. The letters after your name are all but worthless. How do I know this? Well, first of all, I don't even have a doctoral. I don't have time to go do it. I'm going to do my best to see if I can get into the PCOM transitional doctorate thingy this coming summer or maybe next fall. But I'm going to have to really carve out time. Yet here I am. I'm seeing, my practice is growing. We're looking at a fourth location. In fact, I'm going to make a decision on whether to sign the lease tomorrow. And I don't have a doctorate. None of us have doctoral degrees. None of us do. People really don't care. They just could not care less and never even ask us about it. And this is actually good news. This is really, really good news. Okay. And everyone thinks, right, that their degree plus their tools is what's going to get them paid. But that's not the case. The information and the medical techniques are not valuable. We think they are, but they're not. Okay? And how is this possible? Well, it's very simple. All the information is free and inside their pocket, and there are always people who will do what you do cheaper than you do them. Okay? So in other words, like, they can Google whatever the hell they want and learn everything they could possibly want to know about inflammation and diet and all the different, supplements and herbs and everything. All right. So the information that you know is pretty much worth nothing. And then at the same time, like I said, like, we charge $85 per visit. We're about to raise our price after the first of the year. But there's people like literally 2 miles away from me that I know for a fact. There's one community clinic where, you can get a treatment for $20, right? So, it's like the technique itself, the acupuncture itself, there's people who feel like it's worth $20, right? So what is it that brings the value? Where's the value? It's in the clarity you provide and the process you lead them through. Basically, you show them a way out. You give them clarity. Yes, I have a path. And you have a process that's very clear and easy to understand. And you explain that process to them. And that is what they feel, that's where the value is. That's where it's like, okay, this is valuable. This is something I'm willing to pay for. And actually, I'll tell you right now, this is something that 95% of acupuncturists and other types of holistic medical practitioners never do, because they think that everybody coming in automatically sees the value, just the fact that they do acupuncture or that they do functional medicine or whatever. And so they don't take any time to explain to their patient, even the one that's already in their office, what the process is, right? To make it really clear. It's like the joke I always make is, if I walked into a car dealership and the guy just walked up to me and said, "Oh, you're here for a car?" "Yeah." "Okay, that'll be $7,500. And I'm like, "What?" "Yeah, it'll be $7,500. "Well, but what kind of car? You're going to get a car." "Well, what's in the car?" "Well, you'll find out once you pay." And that's pretty much how, like, 95% of acupuncturists run their business. And then they wonder why people ghost and people complain and they want discounts. Because if someone asks you for a discount, I got news for you. If someone complains about the price or asks for a discount, it's not because they're cheap. 90% of the time. There are people who are just cheap and they're always going to ask for discounts. But 90% of the time is not because they're cheap. It's because you haven't done a good enough job explaining and helping them see the value of what you do. That's it. Okay. So here's what we do. We take somebody who is confused, because again, if you go back to this slide, okay, if someone's on their phone, like if they need to go out and research, I mean, there's so much information out there, right? Sure, it's all out there and they can like catalog it and bookmark it and print it, but then they have to like try to figure out what's the right order. What should I start with? How do I do it? What if I have questions? I have nobody who can answer my questions. And what if I start having a problem? What am I going to do then? So they are, if they have a real problem, okay, and that's the key, because if they don't have a real problem, they really could care less. Like, they're not going to be confused and overwhelmed. People don't get overwhelmed because they have seasonal allergies. They're not overwhelmed from that. They are overwhelmed when they're breaking out in eczema rash over 60% of their body, or when they have psoriasis covering their face, or I don't know, whatever. You know, that those are things that people get overwhelmed and freaked out about. So you take someone who's overwhelmed, freaked out, and really doesn't know what to do, and you're giving them a roadmap. The roadmap is, number one, helping them understand their problem, and also helping them see that you have a process that you can help them escape their problem. And then they're like, hell yeah. So in other words, simply put, the value is in your leadership and guidance to get them where they want to go faster than they can on their own. This is why I always kind of crack up, because I see people who, like, I do free seminars every single month, and we have a whole training in my program, a whole step-by-step process. And a lot of people in the program have done the free seminars and have seen really good results with it. But we do free seminars, it's got a certain sequence and a certain type of flow to it. And we share with the people, like, here's how you do it yourself. Like, literally, that's what we teach them at the seminar. And everyone's like, well, if you're doing that, how's that going to end up getting you patients if you're just telling them how to do it themselves? It's because some of the people will show up, and the people who want to do it themselves, they're going to show up and they're going to get the information and they're going to go away and they're not going to book, because all along they want to do it themselves. They're still at the place where their pain is not to the point where they want help. But there's going to be other people who show up who are really desperate for information because they're in a really bad place. And when you offer to help them, after you've shown them how to do it themselves, they will definitely like say, hell yeah, let's go. And even the people who never book, you gave them something valuable. You gave them a roadmap that they could do on their own. And I've had people who come to my free talks who never become patients who referred me 3 or 4 patients. Literally, like, I'll see their name. The first time I see their name on the forums, I'm usually like, because I always like to mention, like, if someone refers someone to me and, you know, the person puts their name on the forum, I'm always going to be like, oh, hey, Susan sent you over here. How's she doing? You know, because I want to make sure they know that I'm paying attention and that the connection is there and that I appreciate the referral. And I actually honestly do want to know how Susan's doing, especially if I haven't seen her in a long time. But sometimes I'll see a name and I'll be like, huh, so share, who is this that sent you over here? I don't recognize this name. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, so she came to one of your talks like 2 years ago. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. So the point is, like, I'll see practitioners who are like, they act as if like giving free information, doing a free consultation is like demeaning. It's like, this totally diminishes my value. And it's like, no, actually, you have no value until somebody actually like believes you and trusts you. Up to that point, you're worth nothing. Okay, so get over yourself. It's fine, you know? But the awesome thing is, like, when you market from the perspective I'm teaching, thousands of people see your value. People who never even met you see your value. People start referring to you and you've never met them because you become known as an expert in your market. So once you've chosen a problem or a set of problems, you have to delineate a clear, easy to understand process that obviously leads from where they are to where they want to go. Okay. Where are they? Well, I have knee pain and I can't walk. Where do they want to be? I want to have zero knee pain and walk normally. So what's going to be your process to get them from point A to point B? I mean, you need to be able to articulate that. And it needs to be somewhere where they are going to encounter it and be able to see it. Because otherwise, it's like, now obviously, like if I have a leak in my roof, I'm about to give you an example, but if I have a really bad leak in my roof, I mean, I call a roofer and I say, I need my leak fixed. And they're going to be like, I'll be right over, and they'll fix it, right? And I probably don't even care how they fix it. But if I can see and they can walk me through the process in a way that I understand it, it's really going to get me to buy in. And this is really important because it's different than a roof, right? Like someone fixing a roof or someone taking out a brain tumor, you're pretty much there. It's done. It's over, and that's it. Like if you have a surgeon take a tumor out of your body, they're not going to do a whole lot of follow-up care with you. I mean, you're going to go back to your oncologist, and they're going to do all the follow-up. And if the tumor comes back, they send you back to the surgeon. With the work we do, we need people to stay engaged with us because we're more like educators. We're not just like, come in, I'm going to put 3 needles in you and you're never going to have a migraine again. Or I'm going to give you 2 herbal remedies and your migraine is going to go away forever. I mean, if people's problems are that easy to solve, then they're not really good candidates for the type of medicine that we practice. Because really what we do is go really deep and help people to unravel the root cause of their problem. So it's really important to get them to buy in, and this gets them to buy in. You have to speak in simple terms as if you're telling a first grader. Again, we want to get all fancy and we want to like demonstrate our expertise. I get that. But like I said previously, just got to let that go. Got to let that go. The need to be the expert. Because the people who you're talking to, they don't care if you've been to Harvard or if you've been to the community college around the corner. They want to know that you're an expert and that you have a really, really awesome reputation. And they want to know how you're going to help them. That's pretty much it. So the more people that come into your practice and you explain your process in a very clear and simple way, you know what it does? It gives them the opportunity and the ability to explain your process to other people. So what's interesting is you'll hear about like someone comes into an acupuncturist or to a functional medicine doctor or whatever because they have migraines, and the doctor just explains everything to them in all of this really advanced terminology. Like, you have liver qi stagnation and we need to get the liver qi moving because the liver, when it gets blocked, it builds up and then the yang, and they're just like, what the hell are you telling me? Like, they can't understand it. And then when their friend asks them at lunch the next day, so how was your appointment with Chris? Well, it was great. Well, so, what's going on? Like, what did he tell you? I don't know. He said some weird stuff about some kind of liver qi or something or whatever. So right then and there, like, the conversation just kind of dies. Whereas if you explain the process very clearly, plain English, then they can go like, they can tell their friend, oh, he told me that there's just some inflammation built up in my system and we're going to do some really simple things with my nutrition and it's going to help to clear out that excess inflammation and that my migraines are going to get better. Now, that's something that anybody could tell their friend, and their friend's going to be like, wow, that's really interesting. That's cool that he figured that out. And it builds your authority, not only with the patient, but with their friend. Okay. So an example, like, again, as a roofing company to fix a roofing leak, they're going to say, okay, we assess the severity of the leak. That's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to figure out how severe it is. And then we're going to locate the source of the leak, because sometimes even though the water is coming in one place, the actual leak is somewhere else. So we're going to find it. And then we're going to use a special technique to fill the leak without damaging your shingles. Like, we're not going to have to take the shingles off or anything. We're just, we're just going to we have this special way to fill the leak. And once the leak is fixed, we're going to verify with a high pressure water system that it's not leaking anymore. So you don't have to wait till it rains. Okay, we'll verify it for you. And then it's going to be guaranteed not to return for the lifetime of your roof. Notice nothing. I didn't say anything about the tools. I didn't say we're going to use a wrench. Here's the thing. Here's what's funny. So you go to these networking meetings, right? And everybody stands up and they say what they do. So one guy stands up and he says, again, because I was in a networking group at one time. And then one of the guys that I kind of made friends with, I thought was really cool. He's funny as hell, man. And his little pitch, he would always say his little pitch, and he was a roofer. His pitch was just so easy to understand, and so easy to know who his customer was, right? So people stand up I own ABC Roofing, or I do accounting and I help people with their taxes, or I do this. And then someone stands up and they're like, I'm an acupuncturist, right? So that's the equivalent of the roofer guy standing up and going, I use hammer and nails. It's like, okay, what do you do with the hammer and nails? Oh, I hammer them into a roof. Oh, okay. So, right. So it's like, people want to know the problem you solve, right? So notice that what I just went through, I didn't say anything about the tools. I didn't say we use this tool, we use that tool. I didn't say anything about the composition of the material used to fill the leak. So I'm not talking about the herbs, right? I'm not talking about the medicine, exactly what it is, right? And I anticipated the biggest question they're going to have. The biggest question anybody who's getting a roof leak fixed is going to be, how do you know it's fixed? Because if it's not raining today, you're going to leave, and then I'm going to have to wait till it rains again to know if it's fixed, right? So that's the power when you choose a problem and then you have a very clear process that is about that problem. Notice the whole message is about them. And it's about making them feel more comfortable, helping them to see that you're an expert, helping them to see that you've thought about some shit in advance. So they're going to be very, very happy to move forward and pay you for your services. So here's what we're going to talk about next. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about magnetic messaging. So we're going to take all these elements that I just kind of gave you and talk to you about, and I'm going to show you some really important and key ways to put them into a marketing message. A message you can put on an ad, or a message that you can, or topics for blog posts and things like that. Because it's not that hard. Actually, the simpler, the better. The less complicated, the better. The less overwhelming, the better. Because here's the key, if you are getting overwhelmed putting your marketing together, then your marketing is going to overwhelm the person who reads it. If you're having difficulty and it's just confusing you, it's going to be really confusing to everyone else. So that's going to be something we're going to talk about, how to avoid that. And also just how to again, I talked about this yesterday, but I went and saw Paul McCartney in London over the week before Christmas, and went and saw his concert. And, it's he wrote, I don't even know, Hey Jude was written when? In 1970 or something, 1969. And he plays that song every time he does a concert. And every single time, everybody's freaking out, having, just singing every damn word. At the end, they do the na, na, na part, and everybody in the stadium singing it, and they even stop playing, of course, and then everybody, you can hear them all singing. I mean, it's once you have a message that resonates, that's it. You don't have to change it. You never have to change it if it's built around people's problems, because problems never change. Hey Jude is a great song. It was a great song the day it was written. It's still a great song today. So a quick reminder is that I love to help people grow their practices. I'm good at it. I would love to help you. And yes, one reason I do these free trainings is to help you decide whether you would like to work with me. Again, this is why I call it accelerated practice growth, because people will figure it out eventually. I mean, if you want to put a fence up in your yard, and you want to do it all yourself, you're going to figure out how to do it eventually. But I guarantee you're going to fuck it up a lot, before you actually figure it out. The posts are going to be crooked. The posts aren't going to be the same height. They're not going to be spaced properly. You're going to have to you're going to use the wrong nails. There's going to be all kinds of weird shit that you're going to deal with, and you're going to have to tear it back down, build it back up. So with my program, you avoid a lot of that, because basically I just hand you here's what works. And yes, we do offer a free consultation for people who are seriously consider working with me, and you can apply anytime at this URL. Just a little quick note is that we are going to put a hold on new enrollments after December 31st. As long as your application is in by December 31st, you will be considered. But I am going to put a hold on new enrollments for this, just because the first few months of 2019, I want to focus on my clinical training. I'm going to be building that out, and I want to make sure I have plenty of time for everybody. If you decide to join up, what we're going to do is I'm going to help you choose the problems you want to focus on, and making sure they're the best ones for you that are going to attract patients that you want to work with. And that what will happen is you will immediately start elevating your authority and your go-to status in your market. I'm going to help you devise and define that powerful, attractive process so that you easily attract people who are looking for high-value help. In other words, people who are motivated and happy to pay for a high-value offer. Instead of just, I'm an acupuncturist, I help people quit smoking with allergies and stomach aches and back pain and this and that and the other, and just this run-of-the-mill commoditized message. We build this process and create a really, really powerful message that people are like, yo, this person is stands out above the others. I'm going to make sure that your marketing is streamlined, easy to implement. Like I said, I had to do that because I was working a full-time job while I was trying to build my practice. And it was tough. So I had to figure out ways to do this without overextending myself. And you'll get a lot more patients with a lot less work this way. Okay. Plus, you're going to get emails that I send to my email list that get reactivations and referrals, in-office scripts that keep the schedule full, keep people engaged, proven landing page templates, proven Google AdWords templates, proven Facebook ad templates, and high converting booking page, like the page that people go to request their initial consultation. I mean, this thing just crushes it. So you'll get all that. And there's stuff in there to help you grow, so that you can keep growing and get a lot more done in a lot less time. Hire the right people as the need arises. Because you grow, you're going to need help. If you want to expand to multiple locations, you can. And even how to build referral partnership with doctors. I mean, I teach people that. I've done that. And we have great relationships with doctors. And you get to focus on what you love most. Okay? Have a blast and focus on helping lots of people. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help people. You saw my schedule, 200 patients in 1 week. And I'm not sitting here stressing out about my marketing, and I'm not stressing out about my business. We're having a blast. We're having a lot of fun because we have systems and we have processes, and shit just works. So again, if you're interested to be a part of it, all you got to do is go here, fill out the application. It's super easy. Won't take that long. And again, I just want to remind you, space is limited. So I hope you enjoyed today. So again, third day of Aximus, we're going to start getting the specific elements of a message, of a magnetic message. We've talked about the first day. We really kind of hammered home how important it is to make everything problem centric and not solution centric, and also to not commoditize yourself, but to really take yourself seriously and see yourself not as a service, but as an expert and a consultant. And today we talked about really digging in on what the language around those problems needs to be, and the fact that we need to have a process, okay, that we can talk about that's simple and easy to understand. And then tomorrow we're going to start talking about how do we get the message out there? What are the things we need to do to let our market know, hey, we're here and we can help you, and this is how you get help. All right?
This is the podcastfactory.com.